The Lantern of Lost Souls. The lantern wasn't there the night before. Katie noticed it just after sunrise, hanging from the twisted branch of a crooked pine near the edge of their camp. The forest was still cloaked in morning fog, the light thin and silvered, and yet the lantern glowed faintly, not bright, but steady, as if lit from within by a smoldering coal. She stood slowly, brushing pine needles from her flannel and stepping closer. The lantern was old, very old, iron-framed, with soot-blackened glass and a thick layer of moss clinging to the sides. The metal chain it hung from looked fused to the wood. "Liam," she called, not taking her eyes off the thing. "Come look at this." Liam stumbled out of the tent, bleary-eyed, rubbing sleep from his face. "What is it?" She pointed. "That." He frowned as he stepped beside her, his gaze narrowing. "That wasn't there last night." "Nope." They stood in silence, staring at it. It didn't sway with the breeze. It didn't flicker. The light inside remained perfectly still. Their friends, Zoe and Mark, emerged from the second tent moments later. Within minutes, the four of them circled around the pine like it was a monument. "Creepy," Mark said, poking the ground with a stick. "You think someone put it there as a joke?" "While we were sleeping?" Zoe asked. "In the middle of nowhere?" Liam stepped forward and gently tapped the lantern. It didn't move. Katie shook her head. "I don't like this." "I mean, it's just a lantern," Mark said, trying to laugh. "Not like it's cursed or anything." Zoe wasn't smiling. "I don't think we should be near it." They agreed to pack up early. The plan had been to hike further north to a lake another 10 miles out. But none of them wanted to stay another night near that tree. As they moved to break camp, Katie felt eyes on her. More than once, she turned to look at the lantern. Each time, it looked just a little different. The moss was growing. The light was getting brighter. And once, just for a second, she thought she saw a shadow inside the glass. They hit the trail just after 8. The sky was clear, birds chirping in the distance, the scent of pine and damp earth rich in the air. For a time, it felt normal. Katie tried to shake the unease. But as the day wore on, she started noticing things. The trees they passed looked familiar. A dead log with an old axe mark. A boulder shaped like a crooked tooth. A fallen tree that Zoe had tripped over hours ago. "Guys," Katie said, stopping mid-step. "We've already been here." Mark turned. "No way. We've been walking in a straight line." "Then explain that." She pointed to the log with the axe mark. "I remember it. Exactly that shape." Zoe paled. "I tripped right there. It was before lunch." Liam checked the GPS unit, his brow furrowed. "It says we're moving forward, not looping." "Then it's lying," Katie whispered. Zoe turned slowly, her face draining of color. "Look." They all turned, down the trail behind them, maybe 30 feet back. The lantern hung from a tree. Not the same tree as before, a different one entirely, but the same lantern. Its glow was brighter now. Mark swore, "Fuck." Liam backed up instinctively, bumping into Katie. "Okay, what the hell is going on?" Liam asked. Is someone following us? Katie shook her head. No, it's not being moved. It's appearing. Let's go back, Zoe said. To the car. Screw the lake. We leave. Now. They turned and began walking fast. No one spoke. The forest seemed quieter now, like it was holding its breath. An hour passed, then 2. The GPS still said they were moving, but they weren't. Katie noticed it first. The same dead log, the same axe mark, the same tree. And from it, hanging like a dead weight, was the lantern. Only now, it was pulsing, like a heartbeat. Inside the glass, something moved. Zoe screamed. Katie could only stare. Inside the lantern, she saw 4 shadows, twisted versions of themselves, trapped, screaming. Mark ran first, just bolted, crashing through the underbrush like a wild animal. Mark, Liam called, but the tree swallowed him. Katie felt her feet moving, then realized all 4 of them had begun sprinting, panic setting their legs in motion before reason could catch up. Branches whipped their faces, thorns raked skin. Somewhere to the left, Mark was screaming, not calling for help, just screaming. They reached a small rise and stopped, panting, hearts thundering. Mark wasn't with them. Katie turned in a slow circle. He's gone. Zoe pointed with a trembling hand. There. A little ways down the hill, the lantern swung gently from a low-hanging tree. Beneath it, something was writhing. Katie didn't want to look, but she did. Mark, bent backward over a stump, spine exposed. His mouth was open, jaw dislocated, eyes wide with frozen agony. Shadowy tendrils squirmed beneath his skin, coiling, twitching. The lantern pulsed brighter. Oh God, Liam whispered. It's feeding. Katie grabbed Zoe's hand and yanked her backward. Run. They didn't stop until the sun was almost down. When they finally collapsed near a mossy cliffside, all 3 were trembling. This forest is wrong, Katie said. It's not just the lantern. It's everything. Zoe was hugging her knees, rocking slightly. What if we're already dead? Liam shook his head violently. No. We can fight it. We can destroy the lantern. Maybe that breaks the loop. Katie didn't argue. She didn't believe it would work, but hope was something they needed to cling to. As darkness fell, they built a small fire. It took less than 10 minutes for the lantern to appear. This time, it hovered, just beyond the firelight. Silent, waiting. Liam stood and grabbed a long branch, lighting the end in the flames. I'm ending this, he said, voice hard. He walked toward the lantern. Every step seemed to cost him. The air thickened, the ground groaned. Katie wanted to call out, but found her throat locked. He swung the torch. The fire connected. The lantern erupted, light spilling out in a burst of soundless brilliance. Liam was thrown backward, hitting the ground hard. The glass cracked, shadows spilling out like ink. And from inside the lantern, something crawled. It was tall, limbs too long, skin like scorched bark. Its face was an empty, yawning void. As it stepped free, the broken lantern fell away like a discarded shell. Liam groaned, trying to stand. The creature didn't hesitate. It moved with unnatural speed. One moment it was standing. The next, it was on Liam. Claws plunged into his chest. Liam screamed, and Katie finally found her voice. "Run!" She and Zoe fled again, but the forest warped as they moved. Trees stretched, trails looped. The world flickered like a failing signal. Zoe stumbled beside her, sobbing. Behind them, Liam's screams faded into wet, tearing sounds. They collapsed near a stream, cold and broken. Zoe looked at Katie. "We're next." Katie didn't deny it. Then Zoe stood, silent, calm. She turned toward the woods and walked away. "Zoe, it wants something," she called back. "Maybe if one of us gives in, it lets the other go." "Zoe, no!" But she was already gone. Katie waited. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Then 2. Finally, she stood and followed. She found the lantern hanging low, almost at eye level. Beneath it, Zoe knelt, eyes blank, mouth slack. The creature stood behind her, watching. Katie stepped forward. "Take me." The creature tilted its head. Zoe turned slowly. Her face wasn't hers anymore. She smiled. "We were never supposed to leave." Katie screamed. Darkness fell. The lantern flared and the forest swallowed her whole. But Katie didn't die. She woke up in her tent, back at the first campsite. Morning fog, birdsong, the scent of pine. She bolted upright, heart racing. The lantern, gone. No sign of Zoe, of Liam, of Mark. Just her, alone. Until she heard twigs snapping. From the tree line, Zoe emerged, smiling. "Morning," she said sweetly. "You slept like the dead." Katie's mouth opened, but no words came. Behind Zoe, more figures stepped into view. Liam, Mark, and herself. Another Katie, watching silently. The lantern hung between them, glowing brighter than ever. This forest never let them go. It just learned how to keep them longer. Katie stumbled backward, breath shallow and skin damp with sweat. The other version of her, the one standing beside Zoe, tilted its head and blinked slowly, like a predator sizing up prey. The lantern hanging between them began to strobe, not just glowing anymore, but pulsing with an erratic, sinister rhythm. "What is this?" Katie whispered, eyes wide. Zoe's doppelganger stepped forward. "You shouldn't be here," she said, though her voice was hollow, echoing, like it had traveled a long way through something not quite human. Katie turned to run, but she froze. The forest was gone. Where the trees once stood, there was now blackness, like space without stars. A vast, shifting void that swallowed light and bent sound. The only things left in existence were the lantern, the doppelgangers, and a narrow circle of earth around her feet. "You never left," said her double. Katie clutched at her temples. No, I made it out. I ran, I escaped." Zoe took another step, her smile gone now, replaced by an expression of exhausted sorrow. "You escaped the memory, not the place." Behind the group, something stirred. The creature, The thing that had crawled from the broken lantern was back, but changed. No longer simply bark and void, its form shimmered with fragments of faces. Liam's, Mark's, even Katie's own. It wore their images like clothing, peeling back one identity after another. Katie backed up until her heels touched the edge of the platform. She dared not go further. The void was closer than ever, humming like a vast abyss waiting to erase her. "Why us?" she asked. "Because you listened," Zoe whispered. "You heard the lantern. That was the invitation." Katie shook her head, tears streaking down her face. "Then how do I unhear it? How do I leave?" The doppelganger Katie stepped forward, reaching into her jacket pocket. She pulled out something wrapped in old cloth and slowly unwrapped it. Inside was a small, cracked shard of the lantern's original glass, blackened, warm, alive. "You take this back to the real world," she said. "You pass it to another. Only then does it let go." Katie stared, trembling. I'd be cursing someone else. "Yes," Zoe said. "That's why so few survive. Because they refuse to damn another." The creature roared, a gaping, cavernous sound that split the silence like a wound. Katie dropped to her knees. Please, I just want to go home." The shard was pressed into her hand. Everything went white. Katie gasped awake, coughing violently. Her lungs burned with clean air, and her fingers dug into pine needles. She was back. Real trees, real ground. No lantern, no shadows. Birds sang again. She sat up slowly. A clearing, sunlight, a distant road, a logging trail. She stood, legs weak. She didn't know how long she wandered before finding the gravel road. A truck passed. She flagged it down. The man inside asked if she was okay. She lied. She made it home. She told the police her friends got lost. The bodies were never found. She tried to forget. Weeks passed. Then, one day, while browsing a garage sale, she saw it. A child's toy lantern, plastic, blue. But inside the bulb flickered orange. Her blood ran cold. She backed away. She didn't buy it. But it reminded her of the shard, the one she'd buried beneath her porch. That night, she dug it up. It was gone. In its place, a new lantern, small, portable, silent. She left her house that night and hasn't returned. She walks the parks now, campgrounds, remote trails. The lantern stays in her backpack, waiting. She smiles at strangers. She tells them ghost stories by firelight. She listens for the moment they hear the whisper. And when they do, she gives them the lantern. Because that's the only way to leave the forest behind. That's the only way to stay free. And if they don't take it, she smiles wider. Because then she knows. They're already part of the woods. Thank you for listening to this story. Your support means a lot and helps keep these tales coming. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to subscribe and follow for more dark and immersive stories just like this one. New horrors await. Don't miss what's coming next.